Retired Tampa Police Captain Curtis Reeves shed tears in court.
There was a bright flash and a gun went off.
Reeves said he acted in self-defense.
He said, "I can't believe he shot me."
The only thing thrown was popcorn. Olson's widow wept in the front row.
And it's so hard and it's so unbearable.
And she said that was no cause to shoot anyone. You shut your mouth and don't say another word.
Tonight, look who's crying now. Yeah, the former cop who gunned down a man who was just on a date with his wife at the movies, and he happened to be texting on his cell phone during previews. This retired police captain, Curtis Reeves, finds himself facing a murder charge, and he starts weeping today in front of the judge. Boo-hoo-hoo. Give me a break. Look at how upset and distraught the victim's widow is. Nicole Olson now has to raise her young daughter all alone because her husband is dead. And she was right there when her husband was executed right in front of her at the movie theaters. Tonight, shocking new information spilling out in court. You'll remember the 71-year-old defendant was upset because this guy, 43-year-old husband and father, Chad Olson, was texting in the seat in front of him. The movie had not started yet. It was previews. Witnesses now reveal that Chad calmly informed the older man he had gotten a message from his daughter's babysitter, and he had to respond. Then, when Curtis, the defendant, wouldn't let up, Chad threw popcorn at him. And that's when witnesses say the retired police captain whipped out his gun and shot Chad dead. In a stunner, witnesses are now saying today the retired cop then started yelling at his own wife.
She postured and she said that was no cause to shoot anyone. And then he leaned back around and stuck his finger out, as to, scold her and said, "You shut your mouth and don't say another word."
Lisa Lockwood, investigator, author of Undercover Angel, the prosecution is lucky that there was a law enforcement officer there in the theater. You just heard from him, happened to see the whole thing. I mean, self-defense, really?
Absolutely not. Here's a man who's had incredible training, not only with police, with also military, who's trained and experienced in knowing how to deal with situations and how to quell situations and make them go away in a sense, versus pulling out lethal force and executing somebody in cold blood with no basis whatsoever. That was a complete disaster. One of the other things that I want to point out is the fact that, you've got people coming forward talking about, we're going to be character witnesses, he's not an explosive man, etc. Swearing at his wife in that manner when he pulled his gun out and then taking that lethal decision. I think they need to do a lot more questioning about his character with other people than the ones who have actually come forward.
I'm starting to feel a theme tonight. Crotchety older men who think everybody's got a kowtow or watch it. One witness inside the movie theater took the stand today and described the very moment that the shot was fired. Listen.
There was a bright flash and a gun went off. Very loud gunshot went off. He said something about 30, 40 seconds later, or maybe it was less than that. He said something, throw something in my face. As Olson started to go past us, as he reached my left shoulder, he said, "I can't believe he shot me." He took another step and a half and then he collapsed on my son.
Brian Claypool, today we learned that there's surveillance video of the shooting and it's going to be played tomorrow in court. Could that be the smoking gun? If it shows that the victim threw popcorn at this retired cop, and if the retired cop can successfully argue, "I didn't know what was being thrown at me," could that be enough to acquit?
Jane, if there's surveillance video that shows that popcorn was thrown at him, I think that in and of itself would still support the fact that he can't shoot somebody for throwing popcorn at him. It doesn't matter if he didn't know what it was, but there was no weapon pulled out. The victim didn't pose any threat at all to this man. I think it gets back to what you said earlier. We live in a culture of people that anger builds up, it festers. They don't have an outlet to channel it, and then something else happens that triggers the rage
All
that happens
that
right
rage comes out. All that rage. I call it the "how dare you" syndrome. Stay right there. We've got more on the other side.
She postured and she said that was no cause to shoot anyone. And then he leaned back around and stuck his finger out, as to, scold her and said, "You shut your mouth and don't say another word."